I was attending a lot of the Rock Against Racism marches with the Anti-Nazi League, I knew a bit about the threat of fascism. So this struck me as potentially a very interesting backdrop for this future world that I was going to be talking about, because as with most of the future worlds in science fiction, you're not talking about the future. You're talking about the present. You are using the future as a way of giving a bit of room to move, a bit of a fantasy element. It makes it into something that is once removed from the thing that you're actually talking about, so people can enjoy it on a fantasy level, while hopefully perhaps some of the deeper points that you're making are sinking in. So we put V for Vendetta together on that basis. It was David Lloyd's idea and it was a brilliant idea, to actually make him look like Guy Fawkes, which we'd been struggling with what this guy should actually look like, and we'd come up with several things that weren't very satisfactory. But when Dave suggested, almost as a joke, I don't think he expected me to go along with it, he suggested this sort of Guy Fawkes figure. And as soon as I saw it, I saw that this was genius. It was connecting to this whole British mythology. There was something so British and so striking about that iconic image. And it played well into the kind of thinking that was already starting to develop upon the strip. Anarchy is, and always has been, a romance. It is clearly the best way and the only morally sensible way to run the world. That everybody should be the master of their own destiny. Everybody should be their own leader. This is something that I still believe. I think that even a cursory look around the world at the moment, particularly at the moment, would reveal that it is about 0.00001% of the world's population that causes 99.99999% of the world's problems. And that tiny percentage, it's not the Jewish banking conspiracy. It's not the asylum seekers. It's not the secret homosexual conspiracy running Hollywood. It's not even the Scientologists. It is leaders. But what we need is an administration, at most. We don't need people to boss us about. I didn't want to just come into this as a self-confessed anarchist and say, right, here's this anarchist, here's the good guy, here's all these bad fascists, they're the bad guys. I mean, that's trivial and insulting to the reader. I wanted to present some of the fascists as being ordinary and, in some instances, even likeable human beings. They weren't just Nazi cartoons with monocles and University of Heidelberg dueling scars. You know, they were people who had made their choices for a reason. Sometimes that reason was cowardice. Sometimes that reason was wanting to get on. Sometimes it was a genuine belief in those principles. So we suggest that, yeah, the Nazis, they weren't from space. They weren't from the depths of hell. They were butchers and street sweepers and school teachers and ordinary people from ordinary works of life. They weren't monsters, but they just went along with fascism when fascism was the order of the day. It was a very morally ambiguous and very morally complex strip. And in its original, and in, I believe, its best inception, it was entirely in black and white. And Dave Lloyd was using this stark chiaroscuro style, where you'd got no bordering outlines on the characters. You'd got hard black up against hard white in the artwork. Whereas in the story, in the text, there was almost nothing but shades of grey in moral terms. And that kind of contrast, I think, worked really well in the original strip. Anarchy wears two faces, both creator and destroyer. Thus, destroyers topple empires, make a canvas of clean rubble where creators can then build a better world. Rubble, once achieved, makes further ruins means irrelevant. Away with our explosives then. Away with our destroyers. They have no place within our better world. But let us raise a toast to all our bombers, all our bastards, most unlovely and most unforgivable. Let's drink their health, then meet with them no more.